Hey everybody, Jason here for RPG A Day 2019. Question number 2. Not question number 2. Day number 2, and that would be subject number 2, because each day is like a certain word, and you talk about one of the first things that pops in your head, and that's the kind of your subject matter for the topic of the day, the discussion. And today's word is unique. And one of the first things I thought of for unique that I figured would actually be something I could talk about was what was probably the most unique game I have in my role-playing game library, which is somewhat extensive. Not quite as big as it used to be. I got rid of some stuff that I knew I would never play or use. Most of it was like modules and stuff for AD&D 2nd edition. Not rule books or anything like that, but I did get rid of a few rule books and things like that for games I knew I would never play. But for the most part, I like to keep my library pretty stacked. Anyway, that's not the point. So unique. The most unique thing that I think I have in my RPG library right now, just off the top of my head, is probably a copy of a game. Well, no, actually, there's two things. No, yeah, maybe unique is not the right word. Yeah, unique. So the most unique thing that I have in my role-playing game library is probably a game book called Slugs, which is an acronym for Satanic, Loathable, Unwholesome Game System. It was released back in the 90s. I want to say there were only a couple hundred made. And it's kind of a little tongue-in-cheek, like goofy, silly type of game that would never probably get produced or released today, because the society we live in is pretty... it's a very not PC game, put it that way. If you ever read Hole from Black Dog, or White Wolf, White Wolf's different from Black Dog, think like that, only not as in depth and everything. It's just a thin book. It's like 30-some pages, I think, 32 pages or 26 pages, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so the premise of the game is it's set in current day, or back then, I guess, 90s, and you are part of an organization called, I want to say Peace, which Peace is another acronym for something that's really horrible. I can't remember what Peace stands for, but anyway, so you play people that are the object of the game is to be as terrible as a person you can possibly be, and guarantee your way into hell, and you just be a real piece of crap, a real thing. An example of some stuff that would be there would be like, instead of killing a bunch of people, you would convince other people to kill a bunch of people. Things like that. Goofy. It's very, very silly and goofy, and does not take itself seriously, especially because the subject matter is so vile and so fucked up, and just, like I said, it's the kind of game that there's no way that it would get approval to be released today by anything other than like the smallest bit of indie press or indie production type game company. And that's how it was back in the 90s. It was released, I want to say, by the Donner Party Press. I want to say the guy that wrote it was out of Cleveland, Ohio, maybe. Greg Donner, I think his name was. I don't know if it's his real name or not, but he signed it G. Donner. I think it was Greg Donner. It's hand numbered. It's cool because it's this little book it's all like a bunch of Xerox papers or printed papers with cardstock front and back that's like stapled together. It doesn't even have a fold. It's literally like 30 pages of paper, like stapled, 3 staples in it, with the cover and the back cover, and the front of it has like a cheerleader with sharp fangs and like a tail, like a demon tail, and tiny little demon horns. So it was like a Satan's cheerleader or something. It was just a very goofy hand-drawn cover, and all the art in the game's goofy, and it's just a silly game that I would love someday to play, because my group would just eat it up. because it's so silly, it's so rules light, and it would be a great stress reliever, a good therapy gaming session for everybody, because it's so fucked up, and it's dark comedy, and it's just a percentile system. You have different stats. It's nothing you've probably never seen before if you've ever read Call of Cthulhu or, you know, older versions of D&D or anything like that. So, but anyway, there were only like, I guess, a couple hundred made, probably because it was some guy in his basement made like each one, or, you know, he couldn't only afford to go to Kinko's and get like 200 of them made or something. But it was like, I think like $5 or something way back in the 90s in the day when I got it. They still got the price tag on it. I've been wanting to do an actual video review of the book itself. As far as I know, I've looked online. You can't buy it anywhere. You can't. There's no. I looked up the Donner Party Press and Greg Donner and all these people that were involved with it. I can find nothing on it. I mean, I would love to get a copy of it in digital, which that ain't gonna happen. But anyway, that's, as far as I can think, probably the most unique thing that I have in my gaming library, as far as books go. I do have something else that's extremely rare, but that's not really unique, so maybe if there's another subject that pops up, I'll talk about that later. Anyway, that was RPG Day 2019 video question number 2. Or it'd be like that, I don't know. I guess in some countries that is offensive. But anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and hope you guys get involved in RPG Day 2019, and we will talk to you later. Bye.